All right, so this lesson is going to be a little different in the fact that there's no real notes for this lesson. If you feel like you want to listen to me break down this first document and the first paragraph of the Declaration of the Rights of Women, then you can keep this video on and you can make sure that you kind of can follow along while I'm reading through this first document. If you feel like you have a good grasp of the Declaration of the Rights of Man, the issues that were happening in the French Revolution, then you can go to the top corner of Schoology and you can click next and you can move on and you can just begin breaking this down independently on your own or with a partner. But if you would like to listen, you're able to do that. So if you're good, pause and exit the video now. If not, I'm going to get started. So the Declaration of the Rights of Man is written by the French people. So this is written by the Third Estate. So these are people who are written by the Third Estate. So if you remember about the Third Estate are the 98% of the population. They are the bourgeoisie, they're the poor, they're everyone who is not nobility or the clergy. Now, one of the things that I want to point out to you with this first document is that this is the Declaration of the Rights of Man. When you declare something, you say it with your full chest. You are believing in it. You say that this is everything that needs to happen. They're saying that these are all the things that men should have rights on, and they purposely leave out women. And when you're going to look at the next document, which is the Declaration of the Rights of Women, you're going to see that it's basically the same exact text. They just replace every word that says man with women. So it says, the representatives of the French people organize as the National Assembly, believing that the ignorance, neglect, or contempt of the rights of man are the sole cause of public calamities and of the corruption of the government. So what they're saying here, and I'm going to get my highlighter out, is that the neglect or contempt of the rights of man is the cause for public disaster. So they're saying everything that is wrong right now in France is because they have been their rights have been neglected. Okay? Have determined to set forth in a solemn declaration the natural, unalienable, and sacred rights of man, in order that this declaration be being constantly before all members of the social body, shall remind them continuously of their rights and duties. Therefore, the National Assembly recognizes and proclaims, in the presence and under the auspicious protection of the Supreme Being, the following rights of man and the citizen. And again, I want to point out, they are saying these are the following rights of man and of the citizen. They are purposely only pointing out anything about themselves. Article 1, right away, they say men are born and remain free and equal in rights. Boom. Social distinctions may be founded only upon the general good. So right away, they are saying no more estates. We cannot have the estate system any longer if we're going to continue to protect the rights of man. We cannot have the estate system. Okay. The aim of all political association is the preservation of the natural and indescribable and the rights of man. These rights are liberty, property, security, and resistance to oppression. And if we go back to our lesson 1, we remember that this is John Locke and our natural rights, and they take 2 of them. So they say liberty and property, and when they say security and resistance to oppression, that's really that liberty that John Locke was focusing on. The principle of all sovereignty, supreme power, authority rests essentially in the nation. No body and no individual may exercise the authority which does not emanate expressly from the nation. Law is the expression of general will. Law can only exist if everybody agrees to it. It cannot be brought down by an absolute monarch. Every citizen has a right to participate personally or through his representatives in its foundation. It must be the same for all, whether it protects or punishes. All citizens being equal in the eyes of the law are equally eligible to all dignities and to all public positions and occupations according to their abilities and without distinction except for their virtues and talents. The free communication of ideas and opinions is one of the most precious of the rights of man. Every citizen may accordingly speak, write, and print with freedom, but shall be responsible for such abuse of this freedom as shall be defined by the law. So you have freedom of the press, you have freedom of speech. However, as long as you're not breaking the law, you can continue to do it. A common contribution is essential for the maintenance of the public forces and for the cost of the administration. This shall be equally distributed among all citizens in proportion to their means. What they are talking about this here is that equality among taxes. No more, I don't have to pay taxes, you have to pay taxes, everyone will pay taxes in proportion to their means, which means if you, in a relation, so if you are super poor, you will not pay a lot of taxes. If you're very wealthy, you will. And then a society in which the observation of the law is not assured, nor the separation of powers defined, has no constitution at all. So this is the Declaration of the Rights of Man. In order to answer the 3 questions for this, I just need you to pause here, go back over your notes, answer those questions, and then continue on. So with the Declaration of the Rights of Women, I am not going to read the entire text because it's the same exact text as the previous. This is just done here as women. So what we're going to do is we are just going to focus on reading this paragraph up here so that you understand kind of what they did, why they did this, who are they speaking to. So it says mothers, daughters, sisters, female representatives of the nation, asked to be constituted as a national assembly, considering that ignorance, neglect, or contempt of the rights of women are the sole cause of public misfortune and government corruption, they have resolved to set forth in solemn declaration the natural, inalienable, and sacred rights of women, so that by being constantly present to all members of the social body, this declaration may always remind them of their duty, their rights and duties. In consequence, the sex that is superior in beauty as in courage, needed in maternal sufferings, recognizes and declares in the presence on the auspicious of being the following rights of women and the citizeness. So here what they're doing, and if you go through each one of these, it literally just replaces women. Every time it says man in the first one, they replace it with women. Every time they say citizen, they say citizeness. And what they're doing is they're basically just saying, you left us out. And because you left us out, we are going to write this. This was written by a woman named Olympe de Gauss, and in the next lesson you will see what happens to her because she writes this text. Okay?